So let's just start with the big headline. There was only going to be a few things I was going to talk about this week. There wasn't really a whole lot. But then on Friday, that would have been yesterday, we had several NXT talents released. And this happened during SmackDown last night. Nobody cared about SmackDown. Let's be honest. SmackDown was really just a filler show. What everyone was talking about was the recent releases. Now, I'm going to go through every single release that happened, and I'll let you guys know what my thoughts on. Especially a few in particular that really just were questionable and were absolute bullshit. So first off, we got Stefan Smith. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I think it's Stephen or Stefan Smith. I believe he was a referee. I really have nothing else to say. It just sucks. We have Ari Sterling. Never heard of him. Kona Reeves. I actually have heard of him. He went with the whole, what is this? God, what was that gimmick he had? God, I'm trying to remember the name, but he wrestled a few times. When I first saw him, he was impressive. Thought, oh, this kid has something. And then all of a sudden, he was on TV, and then they promoted him. They gave him this new, almost like stylish character, very show off. The finest, that's what it was. He was the world's finest of Kona Reeves, and then of course that really didn't do him any favors. So Kona Reeves was just, after that, they just quietly just kept him in the dark, and now he got released. I think this one is Zakara Smith. I think that's how you pronounce it. Don't know much about him. Giant Zangier. Cannot talk. Giant Zangier. Giant Zangier is how you pronounce him. Vaguely remember him. Don't really know much. We got Asher Hale. Yeah, I think it was part of the Cruiserweights. But these next ones are some of the more shocking in their own way. So we'll start off with this. We're going to start off with Leon Ruff. Leon Ruff was a former NXT North American champion. They built him up as this local wrestler, this underdog, and he beat Gargano to win the title, had a little brief run with the belt, and then immediately dropped it back to Gargano. I mean, they could have used him in the Cruiserweight division. I mean, the NXT Cruiserweight division right now is very, very flat line. It's just a very steady line. There's no buzz. It's not dead, but there's no real buzz around it like it was back in the Cruiserweight Classic. I know I really love that tournament that they did. But they got rid of Leon Ruff, and that was kind of a shocker. I kind of feared they might use him more, maybe and maybe in the Cruiserweight division. I thought maybe he could have thrived there and developed more of a character. This one also in the Cruiserweight division, this one kind of shocked me, was Jake Atlas. He was a very talented individual. Had a pretty sick-looking finisher. I think it was that cartwheel on the ropes or something like that into a DDT. It was pretty great. Jake Atlas, I always felt like as soon as he started to impress, he would be cooled down to the point where whenever he came on TV, we just were like, oh, okay, it's just Jake Atlas. He appeared so many times that people kind of just got sick of him or just like, okay, whatever. And then Jake Atlas would do something, it'd be, oh, wow, this guy's really good. And we want to see more of him. So that sucks. I do hope Jake Atlas does find success somewhere else, because that's a big loss. And I think, like I said, he could be a great Cruiserweight or even North American champion. If they build him up more, it kind of gave him more of a rub. But instead, they just let him go. Then we have Tyler Rust. Now, Tyler Rust to me didn't really do anything. But the reason why this one's more shocking is because he's part of a faction. He's part of Diamond Mine with Malcolm Mivens, Roderick Strong, that Japanese guy. They just got formed. This faction got formed a month ago. And now one of their founding members, Tyler Rust, is released. No more than a month, and Diamond Mine's already diamond dust. It's already dead. It's like, are you kidding me? Why would you get rid of Tyler Rust and put him in a faction if you're going to get rid of him? That was dumb on their part. These next three are the ones that really just bothered me. We'll start this one, Bobbyfish. Now, they got rid of Bobbyfish. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see him going far in NXT. I'll admit that. But the constant injuries, he was definitely the most unimpressive out of the Undisputed Era. Mainly just because he was barely on TV and he was getting hurt all the time. I mean, Bobby Fish, don't get me wrong, he's really good. But I never saw Bobby Fish as a singles wrestler. I've seen Kyle O'Reilly more as a singles wrestler than I do Bobby Fish. But Bobby Fish is gone, so if they wanted to do Undisputed Era reunion, that ain't going to happen. And of course, I'll get to Adam Cole in a second a little bit later. But that just kind of sucks that now Bobby Fish is now unemployed, but he's got to wait 90 days so he can go wherever he wants. Maybe he could go back to Ring of Honor. I think that'll probably be the best place for him. These next two, Mercedes Martinez. I remember when Mercedes Martinez debuted in AEW in the all-out women's battle royal that they did. Their version of the Casino Battle Royal at All Out. I believe it was in 2019. I think it was their first one they did. And Mercedes was the Joker card, was the final entrant. And she got a great pop. She got a great reaction. But she was still a free agent. And I was thinking to myself, why the fuck isn't somebody signing her? And of course, NXT got to her first. And I just thought, damn it. I just wish AEW was signed or snatched her up. And she came to NXT. And she was just kind of floating around. And then all of a sudden, they start kind of almost pushing her a little bit. And then she got the call to go to Raw as a member of Retribution. And a long story short, she said, hell with that shit, and was able to go back to NXT. She did some things over there for a little bit. Then she kind of viewed with Xia Li. She got her bell rocked by accident. That shit happens. And then we never saw her again. And now we find out she's released. Big mistake. Mercedes Martinez is one of the best athletes in the women's division that they had. And they just lost her. AEW better pick her up. They're talking about making the women's division stronger. Mercedes Martinez will be that woman to really help the women's division over there up. I mean, with the reports of Ruby Riott or Ruby Shoho coming to AEW now, and Thunder Rosa getting signed, AEW needs to start hiring the best women's wrestlers they could possibly can, because they're starting to get people talking about their division now. And whenever Mercedes Martinez is ready, they need to snatch her up. She needs to be a must for that division. And then this was the biggest one. This is the one I think a lot of people were pissed off more than anything. It was Bronson Reed. This is the guy that won the North American Championship and then shortly there dropped it to Isaiah Swerve Scott. And we all thought the same thing. Oh, God, he's going to be called up to the main roster. Well, nice knowing you. He has a match with Adam Cole on NXT. And whoever thought that would be his final match? Bronson Reed now is released. He's a free agent. He actually posted on Twitter saying that he was released and he's looking forward to new obstacles. He tagged AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact. So Bronson Reed now has his options. And Bronson Reed basically said, now you have no idea what you've done. You've unleashed the monster. Bronson Reed was just a thick boy when he first came in. He was just a thick boy. But he really started to get more TV time. He started to get more of a personality. You kind of understand who he is. We got to see him in the ring more. And the guy, for a guy of his size, was pretty damn impressive. I believe it was one of his inspirations, was Bam Bam Bigelow. And Bam Bam Bigelow was a big guy. But he can do a lot of athletic stuff. Kind of similar to Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed isn't just some big, heavy powerhouse. He could fly. I mean, his finisher was basically the tsunami, which was basically a top rope splash. And it looked great. And Bronson Reed could stay in NXT more. Could have been one of those, new headline guys. He really could have. He could have been one of those new faces on NXT that could have helped carry the brand. But then he lost the title, and then there were rumors about him going to Raw or SmackDown. And we figured, well, that's the end of him. Well, now it's the end of him as turns his WWE career because he's gone. This was a boneheaded move, but at the same time, I'm happy for Bronson Reed. He can now go wherever he wants. Now, a lot of people are going to say he should go to AEW. Look, I do believe there are individuals that should go to AEW. For example, Bryan and Punk. More likely they're going to go to AEW now. Those are two megastars they need to get for that show. Whenever Bray Wyatt's ready, I think they need to sign him. I say Buddy Murphy. He's extremely talented. They should hire him. He's one of those upper mid-card guys I think would do well for them. And then, of course, the other one would be Adam Cole. If he becomes a free agent, which I'll talk about in a second. But Bronson Reed, I don't need to see him in AEW. Now, that doesn't mean he can't compete there. But I would like to see Bronson Reed kind of go to somewhere maybe like Arena of Honor. Maybe he could go to NWA. Maybe he can go work in New Japan. I think going Bronson Reed in New Japan would be very unique with him. Kind of with that style, his style kind of in New Japan. I think that would be kind of unique for him. Like I said, he can go Impact. You know, Impact is kind of gaining a little bit more buzz. Not big buzz, but kind of gains some buzz. Maybe Bronson Reed can go over Impact. Like I said, Bronson Reed, after 90 days, has a lot of options. Would I like to see Bronson Reed eventually in AEW? Absolutely. But he doesn't need to be signed. Just because he should wrestle in AEW, I just don't think he should be signed. If anything, he should sign somewhere else to really progress, see what he can do. But I'll still have that leeway where he can wrestle in any promotion he wants. Because, like a lot of people like myself, and Brandon will even back me up to saying this, you can't just hire a bunch of WWE guys because then you're going to become TNA. There are WWE guys you need, not should, but need to sign. You need to sign someone like a Bray Wyatt or an Adam Cole or a Punk and Bryan. You don't need to sign Bronson Reed. You don't need to sign Bobbyfish. You don't need to sign Leon Ruff. Bronson Reed, I think, would be better off not signing AEW, kind of going around to different promotions and really working on his craft. Because I don't want this to be where all these talents get released and AEW just snatches like some upper big names. Because their rosters are getting big. And I agree, they should focus on getting some newer faces, or at least guys that are not just former WWE guys. They need to be careful. And look, Mercedes Martinez, well, she's a former WWE guy. Yeah, but they need to sign her. And here's the thing. In terms of the men, they should only hire a handful more male former WWE superstars, and that's it. When it comes to women, hire as many as you can because that women's division needs a lot of the best workers. So sign somebody like a Ruby, sign somebody like Mercedes Martinez. I'm fine with that. But it's the male side where they kind of need to be careful and not go overboard. Really think about who you really want on the roster. And like I said, I rather focus on some of the bigger names, some of the more well-known names. All due respect to Bronson Reed, I would not sign him. If I were AEW, I would not worry about signing him. I would be more worried about trying to get someone like an Adam Cole or Bray Wyatt. I would try to get them in. Bronson Reed will have options, and he'll be fine. And like I said, Bronson Reed can always come down and work in AEW. That doesn't mean he has to be signed. He could just come down and work. That goes for Bobbyfish too, and Tyler Russ and Jake Atlas. Not all these guys have to be signed. They could still wrestle in AEW. They just don't have to be signed to a contract. And I think other promotions deserve to have their fair share of the pie and have some of those talent come over and help, elevate their promotion or get those guys over. Because like I said, AEW needs to be careful on signing these certain guys. They need to choose their picks wisely. Like, I don't want to see someone like Everrise get signed at AEW or Braun Strowman. I would rather see them focus on like bigger names, but in terms of like pure talent, like an Adam Cole or Bray Wyatt. But it does suck that Bronson Reed's gone, but now that just means it's a new opportunity for Bronson Reed and others. So I honestly hope all these guys find success somewhere, wherever that may be. And look, so a lot of these guys were cruiserweights. Maybe you could go at Impact and really show off their X Division skills, really shove in their face saying, hey, this is what you missed out on. So a lot of these guys, none of these guys, honestly, besides Mercedes Martinez, should not be signed to AEW, but I think they do deserve a spot to go on the indies or a different promotion or really try to elevate their promotion, their style. Hell, a lot of these guys, I think they could be ready for the Best of the Super Juniors. I would like to see them maybe compete at the Best of Super Juniors. Kind of go to Japan and travel there, or kind of compete there, kind of get their styles clashing. I think that could be fun. But that's kind of where I kind of in. AEW should only sign a few more names for WWE, and then they need to stop, or at least wait until they maybe release some talent, and wait until maybe they start signing other people that are not just from WWE guys, maybe somebody from Impact or an independent wrestler that's not really doing much. Focus on some of the newer faces. That's what I'm saying. Because even though we have more talent that's non-WWE, eventually people are going to catch on and think, well, this is just like TNA Light, like their problem. And we don't want to do that. Don't just sign somebody because they're former WWE people. Sign the people that you want and you need. You don't need Bronson Reed, but you need people like Bray Wyatt or an Adam Cole. You need to. Or Mercedes Martinez. So I just wish for the best for Reed and the rest of the talent that unfortunately got screwed over during this weekend. Maybe actually it was just on Friday. I mean, that just, like I said, it sucks. And it just proves the point that WWE does not give a fuck about NXT. It's just like, oh, just get rid of them. They're a liability. Just get rid of them. I mean, like I said, we said that about fucking guys like Samoa Joe when they released him originally. It's just like, well, what the fuck? It's stupid. It's greedy. But now these guys, and these men and women can now explore and show the WWE what they missed out on. That's the slight positive I will say. Now they could go somewhere else and shove it and rub it in the company's face and say, hey, this is what you missed out on. We could have made you money, and you toss us away like raw meat.